Let's bring in Ari Fleischer, as promised, former White House press secretary, and Jessica Tarlov, of course, senior director of research at Bustle.com. Both are Fox News contributors. Good evening.
Hey, Ed.
Good evening. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Jessica, I want to give you a fair crack as a Democrat. You heard the congressman respond. Democrats are saying this New York Times story shows the president got caught, then he released the aid. Congressman Gates says that's not true.
Congressman Gates is respectfully incorrect about this. It absolutely shows that it is true. But we already knew that because we knew that the White House had been appraised of the whistleblower complaint. We had September 9th as the date, and then September 11th was the release date for the aid. This just puts it a couple weeks behind there. But we absolutely do. And based on the couple weeks of testimony that we heard out of the House Intel Committee, we know that there were a number of people who were aware of what was going on, that there was a trade in place, that we were holding that money until there were investigations. And I think that Gordon Sondland said a lot of important things, but perhaps most important, that actually they didn't even have to do the investigations. They just had to announce it. This was all a stunt to make sure that we would be talking around the clock about the, quote, corruption of the Bidens and not dealing actually with what would be going on in this election.
But let me bring Ari in. In the end, the Ukrainians get the aid, Ari, and there are no investigations of Hunter Biden anyway. So none of this really panned out anyway.
Yeah, in the end, you have a very complicated, intricate series of facts, allegations back and forth, some of which are probably true, some of which are mostly true, some of which are half true, all around what I still think was inappropriate asking by the president to investigate an opponent. No president should do that. But still, add it all up, it does not add up to impeachment. Instead, what we really have is a vote of no confidence by one party in the House of Representatives in Donald Trump. That's all this is. Everything else about it is a waste of time, waste of the people's time, waste of Congress's time.
All right.
I have a question.
Well,
first of all, we know that our prison system is full of people who attempted a crime and it didn't work out right here.
It's not a crime. There was no crime.
Well,
That's
there are a lot of people who disagree with you here, and
it
is abuse of the office to take congressionally appropriated money and not distribute it to a Democratic ally, who Bill Taylor testified, by the way, lost people because of that.
Right. Okay, so a lot of people have said it's not a crime. Jessica, bottom line, what's your bigger point here, and then we'll get back to Ari.
The bigger point is that we're going to have to see how the politics of this play out. But for Republicans to be continuing to maintain that nothing went wrong here, and I'm not saying Ari's admitted that something improper did occur. It didn't rise to the level of impeachment.
He said it wasn't perfect, but it's not impeachment.
Right, but we need a standard, a national standard for what is impeachable. If you lie under oath, is that impeachable? If you extort a foreign country, is that impeachable? If Democrats and Republicans can't get on the same side about what is impeachable, we will do this every 10, 20 years.
Okay, Jessica, but then why did the Speaker, who's a Democrat in your party, go forward without, this legal debate you want to have about what's impeachable, what's not? She promised us months ago, I'm not moving forward unless there's bipartisan consensus.
Well, she said to a vote, she was talking about having an inquiry, which we have had. We haven't seen a vote called, and I'm not sure that it's going to be necessarily. I think it's a small chance that it isn't.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about some advice that I would have given Speaker Pelosi before this. I'm saying moving forward as a nation, we want to stop having the conversation Ari and I are having right now and to have some ground rules about what counts as impeachable.
Ari, you want to get him?
Yeah, Jessica said we will do this every 10 or 20 years, and that's the flaw. You will do this every 10 or 20 years. The American people look at this, and other than the Democratic Party, it has not moved independents. It certainly hasn't moved Republicans. All the things that make Democrats say instantly, aha, it's a crime, they don't have any allies. They don't have any bipartisanship. In fact, they had Democrats vote against the impeachment inquiry. And so this is a one-party partisan push, and that is never the stuff of impeachment. Look, we're a fair-minded people, and even if we're in an age of polarization, if a president committed a crime, the opposition party and the majority party, the party supporting the president, would see it and say it. There would be enough people saying it. No one on the Republican side is saying it, and that's the Democrats' problem. They convinced no one except themselves.
Jessica, let me ask you something else, though, because we've kind of gone around on that. Congressman Gates and other Republicans are not committing to the idea that the president should send his counsel even up there. I thought, as you heard me press him, the president's been saying, I want due process. Here's your chance to send up his attorney. Politico is reporting it sounds like the White House is not going to send counsel because they think this is a sham process and that they're winning, and so why bother sending their lawyer?
It doesn't surprise me that they're not going to. It is disappointing, though, as you said, and I'm glad that you pressed Congressman Gates about this. They have been running with this narrative, which, by the way, is wildly untrue, since Republicans were in all of those secret meetings and allowed to ask questions, and there was that big
the
stunt.
lawmakers, yep.
Exactly. But why not send your counsel? I mean, whether the president thinks that this is a witch hunt or not, it's happening. And the House has the power to impeach him, and then there will be a trial in the Senate. And there are people like those independents that are on the fence about this who might want to see the president taking this seriously because they take the Constitution seriously themselves.
Ari, you've been at a high level inside the White House, as we all know. What would be your advice to this president about whether or not to send counsel? And maybe more importantly, big picture, how does this end?
Well, I think this is going to be an easy one. They won't send them because it gives them a tactical advantage. But on principle, it does blow up the argument that the due process depended in part on having counsel there. But that's how they're going to have to play this one, because they need to play it for their advantage. But, you know, when it does get to the Senate, everybody knows the House will impeach. I think they'll lose a couple Democrats on it. It'll go to the Senate. And I'll be very curious to see how some of the Senate Democrats vote, like Joe Manchin, Doug Jones in Alabama. I suspect you'll even have Democrats who don't vote to convict in the Senate. But at the end of the day, still, what has been accomplished with all of this, other than a colossal waste of time where nothing got legislated, nothing got done? That's all.
That's what we heard.
Democrats have passed over 300 bills that are sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk. I would love for him to take a look. We could lower prescription drug prices. We could save a lot of lives with gun reform. I mean, there's a lot of business.
None of that has anything to do with impeachment.
Well, you said you want things to get done.
Right.
Nothing's been going on while they've been impeaching.
A lot of
those, the same number of bills sitting on that desk.
Some of those bills important.
McConnell.
Some of those bills probably renaming post offices and other things. We'll take a look at all of them, Jessica.
Fine.
And Ari, thanks for coming in. Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving.